Russia has decided to stop supplying rocket engines to the United States in retaliation for its sanctions against Russia over Ukraine, Dmitry Rogozin, head of the state space agency Roscosmos, said on Thursday. In a situation like this, we can't supply the United States with our world's best rocket engines. Let them fly on something else. They're broomsticks. I don't know that, Rogozin said on state Russian television. Want to know about it? Well, stay tuned to the video and watch the video till the end. Hello guys, welcome to Bezos Space. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications to get new updates about Jeff Bezos. Hit the like button to show your support, and in today's video we're going to discuss Jeff Bezos just humiliated Russia's insane decision to stop supplying rocket engines to the USA. So without any further ado, let's begin. The US has long planned to end its reliance on Russian rocket engines, but efforts have been mired by technical and funding challenges that drove the Pentagon to continue using Russian-manufactured engines several years longer than originally anticipated. A senior Pentagon leader said he hadn't heard any major concerns about US space access being affected by the move. "I think our launch needs will be met," US Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall said at a briefing on Thursday. The decision would primarily affect two companies in the US, the United Launch Alliance, which is a key launch provider for NASA and the US Department of Defense, and Northrop Grumman, which periodically launches cargo on the International Space Station for NASA. Both companies rely on Russian rocket engines made by NPO Energomash to propel their vehicles to space. According to Rogozin, Russia has delivered a total of 122 RD-180 engines to the US since the 1990s, of which 98 have been used to power Atlas launch vehicles. Roscosmos will also stop servicing rocket engines it had previously delivered to the US, Rogozin said, adding that the US still had 24 engines that would now be left with Russian technical assistance. Russia has earlier said it was suspending cooperation with Europe on space launches from the Kourou spaceport in French Guiana in response to Western sanctions over Ukraine. ULA's CEO Tory Bruno has said the company has been using the engines in its Atlas V rocket for 5 years and has enough expertise in-house to handle any issues that might arise with its engine supply. In a statement, ULA spokesman Jessica Rice said the company has agreements for technical support and spares, but if that support is not available, we'll still be able to safely and successfully fly out our Atlas program. After an effort to end reliance on the Russian engines for national security missions that were spearheaded by Senator John McCain, RRAs, ULA moved to develop another rocket called Vulcan that would use American-made engines supplied by Blue Origin, the space venture founded by Jeff Bezos. Those BE-4 engines have been delayed, but Bruno said he'd expect to receive them this year and be able to start flying Vulcan. Last month, Tory Bruno said on Twitter that Blue Origin was building the engines at a factory with staff from its company on hand to monitor and help. On Tuesday, a satellite into space for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. United Launch also plans to use the rocket to blast Boeing's Starliner spacecraft, which is meant for human missions, to the International Space Station. Last year, United Launch said Amazon would use the Atlas V rocket for 9 launches related to its Project Kuiper satellite internet initiative. ULA is also transitioning to a new phase of contracts with the US Department of Defense, and Bruno says the company will use the Atlas V for the first flight of that new contract phase. All of the remaining flights in the second phase will use Vulcan. We've been flying them for years and have developed considerable experience and expertise. That means Rogozin's latest threat should not impact ULA for the time being, though it's unclear what should happen if the BE-4 is significantly delayed beyond the last Atlas V mission. ULA says the company did have options to obtain more engines if necessary. Moscow has also demanded guarantees from British satellite company OneWeb that its satellites would not be used for military purposes. OneWeb, in which the British government has a stake, said on Thursday it was suspending all launches from Russia's Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Rogozin said Russia would now focus on creating dual-purpose spacecraft in line with the needs of Roscosmos and the Defense Ministry. In the aftermath of Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk has given internet access to Ukraine via his satellite broadband venture Starlink, a gesture that has earned him widespread praise. Needless to say, this has not gone over well with the Russian government, which has criticized the tech billionaire for his activities. Elon Musk has slammed Russia's space agency after its head said that Americans would require broomsticks to reach orbit. Based on Elon's reaction to Rogozin's announcement that Russia will no longer supply rocket engines to the US, Elon responded by displaying the Falcon 9 rocket from SpaceX. Some sources speculate that if NATO assists Ukraine in combating the Russian military, SpaceX has a great probability of playing a part as well. 9 years later, SpaceX employs 1,500 people and occupies 500,000 square foot facility in Hawthorne, California that used to produce fuselage sections for Boeing 747s. Today, it's filled with rocket parts including stages and engines for its Falcon 9 boosters, which can place up to 23,000 pounds of payload in low Earth orbit. Off to one side sits a slightly charred, cone-shaped Dragon capsule that a year ago became the first commercial spacecraft to be launched into orbit and recovered. Sometime next year, SpaceX plans to launch the first of 12 Dragons to the International Space Station, each hauling 6 tons of cargo under a $1.6 billion resupply contract with NASA. More than 24 commercial launches are also booked, and by 2015, the piloted version of Dragon is expected to be ready to pick up where the Space Shuttle left off, carrying astronauts to and from the orbiting outpost. The EU Commissioner for Space, Thierry Breton, downplayed the significance of the Russian move, saying it would not have consequences for Galileo, the ESA satellite navigation system, or Copernicus, its Earth observation project. We'll take all relevant decisions in response to this decision in due course and continue developing resolutely the second generation of these two EU sovereign space infrastructures, Breton said in a statement. We're ready to act decisively, together with the member states, to protect these critical infrastructures in case of aggression and continue to develop Airplane 6 and Vega C to ensure Europe's strategic autonomy in the area of launchers. Northrop Grumman is just the latest casualty in Russia's ongoing campaign to destroy all of its international space partnerships. Rogozin has been making plenty of threats, delays, and cancellations in response to international sanctions placed on Russia, a direct result of the country's decision to invade Ukraine. We'll closely monitor the actions of our American partners, and if they continue to be hostile, we'll return to the question of the existence of the International Space Station, Rogozin said recently in an interview with the Russian channel RT. I'd not like such a scenario because I expect the Americans will cool down. NASA officials have maintained multiple times over the last week that NASA and Roscosmos are still working together to keep the ISS operational. Kurt Eberle, director of space launch programs at the company's Launch and Missile Defense Systems unit, said at a briefing last month about the latest operation that the company had all the hardware it needed to complete cargo missions under contract with NASA. The best mitigation we can have is to be buying ahead, he said then. This new policy will probably have the biggest impact on Northrop Grumman's Antares rocket, which uses NPO Energo-Mash's RD-181 engine. Rogozin claims that Russia was set to deliver a dozen more of those engines. As of today, there were plans to deliver an additional 12 RD-181 engines in 2022 to 2024, and the talks were also held with the United States on the delivery of RD-181M engines with improved operational characteristics, but we believe that in this situation we can no longer supply the United States with our best engines, Rogozin said in the interview, according to TASS. Now that we've come to the end of this video, I want to thank you for sticking with me, and I'd love to know what you think of it. Just comment down below. Also, if you like this video, make sure you like it and stay safe. Today's video is over, but if you want to see more, there's one on your screen right now, and there are a few more fun videos coming soon. I'll see you in the next video.